Following weeks of a charged social media campaign led by the anti-woke activist Robby Starbuck, Harley Davidson has dropped its diversity, equity, and inclusivity initiative. The flagship motorcycle manufacturing company based in Milwaukee said in a statement posted on X, formerly Twitter, that the company was saddened by the negativity on social media in the past few weeks that was designed to divide the Harley Davidson community. The statement clarified that Harley Davidson in fact has not had a functional DEI since April 2024, and would not have hiring quotas or supplier diversity end goals moving forward. Harley Davidson is just the latest victim to a coordinated campaign by conservative activists who have earlier targeted retailers and manufacturers like Tractor Supply and John Deere & Co. for their planned socially motivated training for employees. These employee trainings are just one part of the specially designed protocols called the DEI, a policy that has been caught in the middle of a crossfire between the left and the right wings in corporate America, ahead of the presidential elections. Before we go into the whys of the debate, let me first break down what DEI includes. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are a set of programs and policies used in workplaces to ensure an even playing field for people from all backgrounds. The policies are aimed at uplifting the individuals from minority and historically underrepresented groups based on their gender, race, ethnicity, and a host of other factors. Since the social justice movements of the 1960s, when calls for equal employment laws were gaining ground in the U.S., companies have ramped up affirmative actions and mandatory diversity training programs for their employees. Evaluating and eliminating the in-company gender and racial pay gap, actively hiring and allocating mentorship programs for employees from underprivileged backgrounds, and ensuring an inclusive workplace culture are some common DEI initiatives.
My life has always been filled with a diversity of people and experiences, perspectives, and it's hard to imagine a company like Google or a society like ours being successful without being inclusive of all that perspective.
Keep in mind, however, that DEI programs are not a legal requirement for private companies in the U.S., and there have in fact been efforts to restrict such initiatives by law. The infamous Florida Stop Woke Act, that sought to bring employers to court for conducting training centered on race, gender, and privilege, is a case in point. The act, which was later redubbed as the Individual Freedom Act, was struck down by the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, back to this guy, Robby Starbuck, and how he is connected to this debate. As of this year, he is the lead conservative voice fighting the case against diversity training in U.S. corporations. We're only halfway through 2024, and Starbucks misinformation campaigns have already forced 3 big companies to scale back their DEI initiatives. Leading his 533K followers on X, Starbuck claims that DEI was a part of a bigger woke propaganda to radicalize white men in the U.S. Before he came after Harley Davidson and others, Starbuck, a failed Republican congressional candidate, had built a reputation for himself as an anti-trans crusader saving America's children from so-called wokeness. But he is not alone. Many American politicians from the right side of the political spectrum share his sentiments, and have been campaigning around the same set of agendas. The presidential race this year in the U.S. is focused more on cultural wars than economic issues. Donald Trump, the poster child of anti-woke politics, made headlines just a few days ago when he questioned the racial origin of his rival Kamala Harris, followed by insulting remarks against the black journalists.
President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters can trust you with another vote.
Trump has openly criticized what he refers to as anti-white racism taught through DEIs, and previously promised to eliminate school administrator positions that oversee DEI initiatives. Stephen Miller, who was part of the previous Trump administration, is running a firm called America First Legal that is at the forefront of the fight against corporate diversity initiatives. Human rights and civil society groups believe that a second Trump presidency could potentially see more scaling back of inclusivity requirements for corporations and reinvigorated cultural wars.